September 10th, the district court, courtroom number 3. Whew, all right. So, it's plain as day to me that you're a dirty, dirty, double-murdering lady type. Time to prove it, though. Suddenly, Kay is back. Kay, what are you doing here? Oh, hello, mister. I'm still investigating. The object you're looking for is already... Kay, don't mind him. Please continue with your investigation. Okay, you got it. Detective Bad, haven't we already found what you were looking for? If it means I can keep her in the dark just a little longer, any little task will do. Oh? You're more sympathetic than I thought. I'm gonna go brood over here. Ah, I see we're gonna be standing at the opposite ends of the desks. All right, sure. I've been waiting for you, Edgeworth. I've also been waiting for the moment in which we can finally lay this case to rest. Yeah, okay, stop laughing, it's not funny. Yeah, I know, I said it, it's not funny. Wasn't that when we placed Detective Gumshoe under arrest? You mean the person you're constantly trying to make sound like the murderer even though it's you? Yeah. I think we've more than solved this case already. Pashunk, don't you? We'll see. It all depends on whether or not your logic holds. Ah, I see we even have a viewer in the gallery. And why even Mr. Bad is here? A viewer in the gallery? I'm hardly just a bystander. I have a duty to see this case through to the end, no matter how it turns out. Oh, is that right? Anyway, I thought you might like to hear what I've saved away to find out. I've taken statements on every single person's movements. During the time when our suspect was in the hallway, I also confirmed that there's no possible route of escape from lobby number 2. Therefore, the killer must, without a doubt, be Detective Gumshoe. Or it could be you. Literally. I mean, you is you, yeah. And that's all you have? Yeah, that's all there is to my conclusion, and this case. Yeah, I don't think so. Sorry, but I beg to differ. In a trial, there's always time for a rebuttal, and we are standing in a court of law. It'd be more than appropriate to follow the rules of court in this case, don't you think? Yeah, hilarious. Absolutely like a rookie to think such a thing. Oh, only a rookie would actually want to solve a crime. But all right, I'll play along and give you a proper testimony. If my logic's correct, then I've already won. All I have to do now is to prove it by showing who the real killer is. All right, what you got? Everyone, sans the suspect, has an alibi for when the gun went off, except for me, of course, but, you know, whatever. Furthermore, the areas around the crime scene have all been thoroughly investigated, right? Why is she laughing? I also confirmed that there is no possible escape route from lobby number 2, which leaves us with one unshakable conclusion, that Detective Gumshoe is the killer. Fwah! Now that you have your testimony, I expect a good rebuttal, Edgeworth. But of course, there's no need to confront your logic head-on right now. And I should instead focus on drawing out any trump card she has up her sleeve. Gotcha. You want me to press stuff. Easy peasy. All right. Well, what about you? You don't have an alibi. So, hey, why aren't you the murderer then? The suspect. But I thought that Detective Gumshoe's alibi had already been proven. Are you joking, Edgeworth? That just only helps you out. As I am trying to make him go to prison, I choose to ignore such a thing. I assure you, this is no joke. Look, I know you heard from the judge earlier that the detective was in the hallway with Mr. Faraday's daughter eating a Swiss roll. Yes, that is correct. But see, that was 20 minutes before the real gunshot went off, right? And the problem is, there's no one else who can corroborate what he did since the snacking. I see she's done her research well. I was kind of hoping she was a bit more idiotic than that. All right, then. Which means that I should focus on drawing out whatever trump card she's withholding. That's the plan. I guess just press stuff. Whether they have been thoroughly investigated or not is for me to decide. Yeah, okay, sure, whatever. The scrunched eyebrows and lines in your forehead are back. Anyway, if you believe it hasn't been exhaustive, the crime scene, lobby number 2, has no other way than the hallway Detective Gumshoe was standing in. And because he claimed to be there, that makes him the only possible suspect. But isn't it also possible that someone escaped through a window and into the garden? Yep, still laughing. That's the first place everybody looks silly. The police aren't a bunch of lazy bums. I mean, they are kind of bad at their jobs, but still. They looked into every possibility, you know. Isn't that right, Mr. Bad? Yeah. There wasn't a scrap of evidence to suggest someone used one of the windows. There also weren't any footprints or anything in the courtyard garden. I suppose they really did check everything that could be relevant to the case. Alright, let's keep on keeping on. Alright, but are you certain of these facts? Are you absolutely positive that there are no possible routes of escape? Of course I'm sure. And why are you so certain? This is a courthouse, the place where criminals are brought to be judged. If there were an escape route, I'm sure every criminal would be using it to escape, including myself. It's just common sense. Blah, 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 blah. Miles Edgeworth, I suggest you use a bit more of it in the future. Ah, delightful, hitting me, that's good. Okay, gonna go ahead and say nah to that noise, though. You may think it's unshakable, but to me, there are still too many unanswered questions. For example, who was it that placed the gun in Mr. Faraday's hand? But you're the only one still wondering that, and if you're the only one who cares, then it's not actually a question. Detective Gumshoe probably had no idea which hand Mr. Faraday used to write with. I mean, how would he know with all of that ink on his hand? Even if you know someone, it doesn't mean you'll know which hand they write with, right? I mean, I certainly don't care about that sort of thing, and if I don't care about something, then it must not be important. Sociopath. Smug. I'm not about to let her get a rise out of me with such a flippant statement. I suppose we've really reached the end now. I already have my trump card ready. All that remains is to play it. But before I do, I think I should inquire into a little something about our argument. You said earlier that you confirmed the alibis of every other person than the suspect. However, I don't recall either Francisca or myself speaking with you about the subject. Ah, but there were witnesses. For you, there is your mentor who gave you an alibi. I see. As for the little Missy, she came to the courthouse during the recess and was stopped by a security guard at the door to the hallway. She gave him quite a whipping for that, or so I heard. I'm the daughter of Manfred von Karma, and I will not be forcibly stopped by a guard or a bailiff or anyone else. Wait, so basically the only reason Francisca bothered to show up today was because she found out that I was to be the replacement prosecutor? Oh, Francisca. Pat. By the way, Miss Yu, what about everyone's alibis before Detective Gumshoe was assigned to guard duty? What about them? Have you looked into what people were doing during that span of time? What kind of idiot do you take me for? It doesn't matter when the killer went into lobby number 2. From the time we heard the gunshot to the time Mr. Bad and I arrived at the crime scene at as we dashed from lobby number 1, the only person who could have committed the crime was Detective Gumshoe. So you don't have an alibi for before then. Good. Yes, well, then let's talk about you and Detective Bad heard the gunshot, shall we? And I suppose that if we go by your logic, then Detective Gumshoe is the only one. However, what if the crime had occurred at an entirely different time than when the gunshot you heard went off? What then? That gunshot was a trap meant to manipulate our perception of when the crime... Okay. Sadly, your explanation is very lacking, Edgeworth, mostly because I interrupted before you could. The gunshot we heard in lobby number 1. Care to explain how that could have been fabricated? Incredibly easily. It's called videotape technology. It's been around for a few decades. That tape? Yes, it's exactly what you think it is. This is the surveillance tape of Mr. Rell, the prosecution, presented in today's trial. That was found loaded in the video player in lobby number 2. You know, I find it incredibly interesting that from, something I noticed is that for our exact purposes in this courtroom, it's flipped around in the opposite direction so that the prosecutor's desk is facing the left side and the defense is facing the right. Because technically, we're still, because we're the protagonist and technically we're on the side of the right now, so it's just funny to me. Anyway, it was connected to the large television that had its volume turned all the way up. You can't honestly mean that the sound we heard was the gunshot in the video. Ah, but I do! Which leads me to my next point. The murders occurred much earlier than when anyone heard the gunshot. She puts on makeup very aggressively. That's the only thing I could think of, too. After committing double homicide, the killer took the surveillance video out from Mr. Faraday's evidence bag, turned the television's volume all the way up, and left the video to play. Isn't it convenient that, you know, you could easily open the window in that room and then spill a absolute metric crap load of perfume everywhere, forcing someone to open up another one? Interesting, isn't it? If you played from the beginning, it would take 30 minutes for the gunshot sound to come on. And since we now know that the method of time manipulation is possible, it opens up the possibility that the killer is somehow someone other than Detective Gumshoe. Although I am kind of confused as to how nobody noticed that the video was playing. You heard the sound effect from it, but nobody looked at the TV and noticed. That's just weird. Why is your voice so weird? Sounds from a television doesn't amount to much here. But of course, Mr. Prosecutor Edgeworth and little Miss Von Karma already knew that much from the very beginning, right? Of course we knew! Didn't we, Miles? Yes, of course. We know about the soundproof quality of this courthouse's room, sorry. Of course, I'm not about to admit we had no idea until a little while ago. That's unnecessary. That's right. If the rooms are soundproof, then we should not have been able to hear it. And yet, we heard the gunshot clear as day. And that's it, end of story. But it's not. How should I explain why she was able to hear a gunshot from a soundproof room? The window was open, duh. There is, actually, one common point between lobby number 1 and lobby number 2 and the hallway outside. And it's that despite the fact that both rooms have air conditioners installed, a window was open in each. Now, we know that the window in lobby number 2 was opened by the killer. However, a window in lobby number 1 was also opened. Yeah, what's so funny? It's probably just coincidence that they were both open at the time. Yeah, sure, a coincidence. Sure, absolutely. It was no mere coincidence, I assure you. Why was the window open in lobby number 1? The answer is that a certain person did something to cause the window to be opened. And that person who triggered the ad action, that person is the real guilty party. The real killer in this double murder is your stanky face with your stanky smells. Miss Callisto, I hereby formally indict you of the murder of Mr. Faraday and Mr. Rell. No one saw that coming but me for some reason. You indict me? Are you serious, Miles? Why do you think she's the killer? I don't understand her motive just yet, but of course I'm serious. Because she is the only one who could have done it. Well, Miss Yu, do you still feel like laughing now? Obviously, it's all she does. Of course oh, that was a fake laugh. Of course I do, Edgeworth. My argument must not be tight enough yet, but my theme music be blaring, y'all! Although I never thought things would spiral into this, but I'll have you know I'm enjoying this dance quite a bit. I guess that means it's time for my own rebuttal now, right? Alright, fine. What's your rebuttal? You argue that the window was opened. However, do you have proof it was I who did that? Furthermore, do you have proof that the tape was used in committing the crime? Frankly, I'm shocked at you for being going around accusing people of murder like this. Especially with logic as full of holes as yours. Okay, well that's incredibly easy to fix. This is where it really starts. I mustn't let my guard down even for a second, or the truth will blow away. Nobody needs that in their lives. Now is the time to put that patented Von Karma perfect proof to the test. I have a bottle of stank juice, and I know it belongs to you! So chickity check this mess out, y'all. Miss me with that mess. Smug. I'm sure you've seen this before, haven't you, Miss Yu? For some reason you were carrying it around, that's weird. Edgeworth, I never knew you were into wearing that kind of perfume. It's not exactly what I'd recommend for boys, you know. This isn't mine! I smell like vinegar, I'll have you know. That's right, it's really rank. He smells like Easter all the time. It's mine, and I received it from Detective Badge, you see. Miss Yu, you can pretend all you like, but we know at least this much for sure, mostly due to the fact that you stank like hell, that this bottle of perfume was given to Detective Bad by you. Yeah, okay. Because it gets really strong really fast. So, what about the perfume? While you were in lobby number 1, you made a big show of spilling some of this perfume. That's according to Detective Bad. Oh, I know. You also knew that if you spilled it, he would naturally move to open a window due to its stank. Come now, I've already told you that all's just a big coincidence. After we opened the window in lobby number 1, I just left it open, you know? So maybe it was just dumb luck that we heard the gunshot through the window. That's stupid! The timing of when you were going to spill the perfume is something you could control. And the most important fact about this case is when people were made to hear that shot. Furthermore, it would have been pointless if you didn't have an alibi for yourself at the time. You mean, Miss Yu, you were the one who called Detective Bad into lobby number 1. And he was the one who called Gumshoe in when you saw him bring Detective Gumshoe into the hallway. Is that correct? No answer. That's basically a yes. All of this today's premeditated events could only have been thought up by you, Miss Yu. Who's laughing now? You accused me of murder on the fact that I spilled a little perfume. Well, allow me to say this much. I couldn't have killed Mr. Faraday. Well, that's a lie. Would you care to testify as to why? Looks like I've had a lot of fun today, really. But I grow weary of this game of cat and mouse. It's really more of a game of a ballistics missile and a turtle, really. Let's make this the last testimony and wrap up this absurd case once and for all. Fine by me. Accusing someone of murder over a spilled bottle of perfume is a bit over the top, but I suppose forgery of evidence is to be expected of a disciple of Von Karma. Yeah, all right, throw that in my face. In any case, it simply could not have been me who killed Mr. Faraday. After all, I don't even know where the knife that was used to kill him came from. Really? Miles, her testimony is flawless! Yes, but no matter what sort of trick she may try to pull, she won't escape me. And if I'm lacking information, I'll just draw it out. All right, then that means we gotta press. And eventually, something new will pop out that we can use. I think I already explained the significance of that earlier. You only confirmed that I did spill some perfume. But that's all. That you would accuse me of murder based on a simple spill. Don't you dare complain when I sue you for defamation of character. Haha! Or defamation. Do as you like. But as for me, I believe. You believe? I believe that you are the true culprit in this case. My, you're enthusiastic. Of course, I should have guessed. I'm going to figure this out. Okay, I don't think that's necessary. All I feel like it's going to result... It's probably just going to really get Von Karma all messed up. I formally request that you desist in your attacks against my mentor. Yes! Or we'll sue you for defamation. All I'm doing is telling the truth. Well, maybe more like spreading gossip. Yeah, that's literally what that is. Although your adamant denials are, shall we say, just adding fuel to the fire. How dare you say such a thing? Calm down, little girl. Don't let her get to you. Why did you have to ruin my fun? Oh yeah, that doesn't make you seem evil. Well, shall I continue? Poor Francisca. There's a big storm a-coming for her.
Hold it.
Why exactly could you not have killed him? I was just about to testify to that. You're such an impatient man. I'm not really into that, you know, Edgeworth. Cool, because I'm not into psychopathic murderers who won't stop giggling at literally everything they see. Gah! Your preferences have no bearing on what is at hand. You're not even that pretty. Feeling a little uncomfortable, are we? Miss Yu, you will detest this tomfoolery and return to your testimony. And Miles, if you're going to lose your cool, then I won't show you any mercy. Sorry. Miss Yu, please continue with your testimony. Sure. As I was saying, I couldn't have possibly killed Mr. Faraday. After all, I didn't even know. All right, more pressing! At this rate, she'll inevitably escape. But if she really was the one who killed Mr. Faraday, then she must have known about the existence of the knife. I'm sorry, Miss Yu. Maybe you weren't aware. However, the knife that was used to kill Mr. Faraday was taken from his evidence bag. Miles! What do you think you're doing? I'm drawing the truth out of her, that's what I'm doing. I don't recall a knife being presented at the trial earlier today. Ooh, wiggle, 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 wiggle. Well, I suppose that's because the evidence was something Mr. Faraday had yet to use. Yeah, not funny. So that's what you're trying to do. Look, why don't you cut it out with the lies? I've already figured you out. There was no knife inside Mr. Faraday's evidence bag. The only evidence he had yet to present was the key that Yadagastu had sent. And unless a key can magically turn into a knife, you really don't have a leg to stand on. Oh, well, there we go then. That's easy pants. Did you really think you could trap me? Come now, be honest. I never intended to do such a thing. It was all a misunderstanding on my part. In any case, I wonder if you might append what you just said to your testimony. Sure, why not? I'll even say it as many times as you like, slight typo. There was a key in his evidence bag, but you can't kill anyone with a simple key. Well, actually, you totally can. Even a house key, if you crammed it into someone's temple hard enough, would definitely cause them to die. Just saying. It's messed up as all hell, but it's true. Anyway.
Objection!
Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle with the smug, smug styles. Miss Yu, I wonder if you might take a look at this photo for me. This is a picture of the key the Yatagarasu sent to the police. However, while it may look like a key at first glance, it is in fact has the secret ability to transform into a knife. Which means that what was inside Mr. Faraday's bag was both the Yatagarasu's key and the murderous knife. You knew that the key was inside Mr. Faraday's bag, did you not? Yes. Well, with the Yatagarasu's key alone, it's more than possible to kill Mr. Faraday, like you did, because you're a murderer. Do you understand now? Just knowing of the existence of the Yatagarasu's key. Okay. Stop putting on makeup! It's not gonna help. I still haven't had a good look at it. Showing it to me from that far away? You could be lying for all I know. You would, even now, still feign ignorance. I'm not feigning anything. I'm really that stupid. But we can't have you accusing me of a crime with false evidence now, can we? I mean, Mr. Von Karma. I've heard some very interesting rumors about him. Ah! Are you mocking my papa? Don't you dare sully the good name of my mentor that we both don't understand is actually a murderer yet. Now take a good look. This piece of evidence is more than real. See? Wow, who knew there was such a trick to this thing? Are you satisfied now? But of course you knew from the very beginning, didn't you? You knew that the knife and the Yatagarasu's keys are one and the same. Otherwise, someone like you who isn't a member of law enforcement, and who would never have been privy to this tricky, would have been never known about it to begin with. Furthermore, the something that the Yatagarasu sent to the police. How did you have knowledge as to what it was? Actually, I heard it from Mr. Faraday. Just before he dragged Mr. Rel off, he told me. Oh, that's right, I almost forgot. He also told me about the key turning into a knife at that time. Literally impossible because he didn't know that. But he didn't tell me about how the key actually transforms. Nope. What he's saying is simply not possible. Oh, and why not? Because Mr. Faraday himself didn't know about the hidden knife within the key. From these pages, he mentions nothing about a knife. I'm not sure he would have written everything in his organizer, you know? Wouldn't something of this importance be better left to oral communication? Shut your face! Unfortunately, that is also impossible. Because Detective Bad didn't know about the knife aspect either. Yeah! What would have been highly classified information, even within the police force, and is something that even the lead detective on the case didn't know. Why would Mr. Faraday have felt the need to share such information with the opposition? Man, going to prison sounds hilarious to you, doesn't it? Okay. I guess you wouldn't have much of a reason to. Looks like I gave a pretty lame excuse, huh? How can you laugh at a time like this? She probably just realized a flaw in her logic and is actually in panic over it. But that's not something we need to concern ourselves with. I suppose you're right. Miss Yu? I'd like to state that I also know that you know the real nature of the knife. Yeah, keep laughing. Do you now? Well, why don't you put your money where your mouth is and show me? Oh, I will. And I'll wipe that smile off your face by the time we're through. She doesn't really smile that much. This is it. The moment of truth. The secret behind the Yatagarasu's key. Only one person would have had the knowledge of it from the get-go. Who wouldn't have known from the start the Yatagarasu's key could have changed into the knife? But that doesn't make sense. There's no way that she could be the Yatagarasu. Why would future K be following in their footsteps? That wouldn't make any sense. But I can't think of any other answer. There's only one person who would have known about the dual nature of the key. And that is the person who sent the Yatagarasu's key to the police. I guess this is what I was supposed to do. That is to say, the Yatagarasu herself. Are you saying that this lawyer is the great thief Yatagarasu? Miss Yu? You used Mr. Rel to lure Mr. Faraday into a trap, didn't you? You who profess to bear a grudge against criminals. Why? Why do something like this? Yep, still laughing, not doing anything. Okay. You done? Who would have thought that you, a stupid rookie prosecutor, would see through me? You're sending the biggest chill down my spine right now, Edgeworth. This feeling of thrill. It's even greater than when I sneak into someplace. You killed Faraday? Why? Answer me, Callisto U! Callisto U, huh? That's not my real name. What? Because my real identity is, yes, the great thief Yatagarasu. That makes absolutely no sense to me in any way, but okay, sure, we'll go with it. Let me tell you something, Edgeworth. Mr. Faraday was one difficult man to deal with. For you see, he discovered my true identity, which is why I had to erase him from the world of law. I mean, she's admitting to the murder, so I guess I can't complain, but I still have questions. I made Rel an offer, an acquittal for a little favor in return. All he had to do was accuse Mr. Faraday of being the Yatagarasu in court. But once we entered the recess, Rel was dragged off by Mr. Faraday, which threw my plan into a complete mess. I chased after them and eavesdropped on them through a crack in the door. That Rel caves to only two things, money and authority, just as all thugs do. I feared my plan was going to be ruined if Mr. Faraday held on to Rel any longer. Plus, if I had let them continue on the way they were, I would have been found out. That's why I had no choice. I had to kill them both. But didn't you say that you despised criminals? But do I really? You! Have you forgotten about the KG8 incident too? Maybe. But, okay, apparently she forgot about it. That's weird. What sort of woman would... So was it your plan to kill Mr. Faraday with the very evidence that you sent? Well, I had a good idea of what Mr. Faraday was going to do. I anticipated that Mr. Faraday was going to prove that Rel wasn't the Yatagarasu, by using the Yatagarasu's key as evidence, and that he would bring it with him. Which is why I thought to use the knife portion. With a weapon as well disguised as this, no one would be the wiser. Because who in their right mind would think something like this could be a weapon? And I casually entered lobby number 2 on the pretext that I had to talk with Mr. Faraday. And in order to get in with him, I pretended to be worried about something. Which was his first mistake. I'm clearly never worried about anything. I'm clearly sociopathic. He then let me hold the Yatagarasu's key just like that. He never noticed that I had changed the key into a knife inside that plastic bag. And he didn't have the chance to take note of the knife that took his life. How could you kill him? I knew him for a long time, you know. At the very least, I thought to give him a quick and painless death. But if you killed Mr. Faraday first, there was no need for you to kill Mr. Rel as well. I believe I mentioned why when we were placing Detective Gumshoe under arrest. Something about having accidentally created an eyewitness, and how that led the killer to think about setting them up as though they killed each other. Then the trick with the surveillance tape. Yes, I hadn't actually planned to use a gun. The risk was too high that I'd be caught. However, that's when I remember the existence of that surveillance tape, which is why I had Rel help me set up the crime scene. And after all was said and done, I rewarded him for all his hard work with a bullet. You're a defense attorney, aren't you? How could you betray a client? Client? If you want to talk about who was a client of whose first, it was me. I was the client in the murder of the Cadopian Embassy staff member Deadman. You ordered a hit job? You still haven't figured it out, Mr. Bat. I had Deadman killed because he was about to give away info about the smuggling ring. Now, who exactly do you think would benefit from such an assassination? It can't be. You're... That's right. I'm a member of that smuggling ring. But! How could this... You don't mean... You're working with Manny Cochin too, do you? Maybe, maybe not. Guess you'll never know. You got a goddess who claims to be noble, but you're just another cold-blooded murderer. That's right, little girl. The Yatagarasu is just another killer. Be quiet, you. Yatagarasu. You can run from the law, but you'll never escape it. So just humbly accept the judgment of this court. Hey, Edgeworth. Did you know? The Yatagarasu has 3 legs. Do you know why that is? No? Well, let me tell you. It means the Yatagarasu has more than one razor-sharp way to do her work. That's a gun. That's a gun! How do you have a gun? Okay, that's a problem. You really are too naive, Edgeworth. You even handed the Yatagata's key right to me without a second thought. Everything may not have gone according to plan, but I'll still gladly take it. You mean, the key was your real target? And even after I gave you such great advice, didn't I tell you to always keep a good eye on a criminal? Or you may regret what comes of your negligence. You two, get down! My body. I can't move. Hey, mister, to your right! Yo! Are you all right, Francisca? I'm perfectly fine, Miles. Her voice is shaking, but it looks like she's unharmed. Where did Kay go? Okay, that's a gunshot. Hello? Sorry, but it looks like she got away. I called the precinct, and they should have a perimeter set up soon. Detective Bad, are you all right? I heard a gunshot. I'm okay. Just got another hole in my jacket. You may say he's fine, but he looks quite shaky. He was still shot at! More importantly, boy, I mean, Mr. Edgeworth, Miss Von Karma. Oh, damn. Are you two hurt? I'm absolutely fine. Wouldn't be the first time, it wouldn't be the last time Francisca had to face down a gun. Luckily, she's okay anyway, but still, I'm also all right thanks to Kay. Speaking of Kay, where is she? I don't know. She just sort of disappeared. I'll go look for her. Oh, and hey, Detective Gumshoe? Yes, sir. Detective Bad, sir. I'm sorry I doubted you. Don't worry, sir. It's not your fault. I lied to you guys too, after all. I heard about what happened from Kay. Lying while giving testimony is still unforgivable. But, in this case, you were protecting Kay and her feelings. Looks like you just might have what it takes to be a real detective. Now, don't you ever lose that detective spirit, okay? You got it, Pops. Pops? Watched one too many detective dramas recently, have we? Way to single-handedly destroy the cheery atmosphere with one snarky comment. It's all she knows! It wouldn't be Francisca if she didn't. And I should get back to the investigation. I swear I'll catch you if it's the last thing I do. Be careful, Detective Bad. And take care. Thanks. Well, I'm off. Maybe we'll run into each other again someday. Gee, I wonder what characters are gonna pop up in the last case of this game. Thanks a bunch, pal. You're the best. You really did find out the truth behind everything. Yes, well, I'm glad we solved everything before you were taken to prison. But the judge is sad. By my beard, I have depression. I can't believe how much trouble I caused you with my testimony, Detective Gumshoe. It was no problem, really. I mean, I lied too, so I didn't help anything. It's really not your fault, Your Honor. Well, even if we did have His Honor's testimony, I think that lawyer would have found another way to get you convicted on her behalf. Yeah. I can't believe I was about to get fired during my first week as a detective. Well, so long as you're not fired, you should work hard, give all that you have, and perform your duties well. Oh, and one more thing. Kay left a present for you with me. She did? Oh, what is it? What was it that Kay left for me? The proof of their friendship? It was a Swiss roll.
Take that!
It's a courthouse special Swiss roll. Can I really have it? Yes, it's a present meant for you after all. Thanks a bunch. You have no idea how happy this makes me, pal. Man, let's make sure to forget Kay ever existed, so we'll be surprised when we meet her again in the future. I'm gonna eat this right now. Sure, go ahead. The Swiss rolls Detective Gumshoe and Kay bought together. While the one Kay saved never reached her father, It would appear that her sentiments have touched the heart of this detective. He's so happy it's though he's having a welcome back celebration on his own. Well, I was asked by Kay to give it to him. Whoop! That was a good pal. I can't believe I got to eat 2 of these delicious things in one day. It's like I'm in Swiss roll paradise or something. I gotta thank Kay myself. Wait, where is she? You only noticed just now? Was his mind not present when we discussed her earlier? Detective Bad left to go search for her earlier. Maybe you should go join him. Yeah, you betcha, pal. I'm gonna go help him. But first, you know what, pal? Actually, I guess I shouldn't be so rude to you anymore, huh? Ha! I'm gonna stick right by your side from now on, Mr. Edgeworth, sir. I sense nothing but a most troublesome relationship from that ominous statement. Ha! Lifelong friendship formed. We should go home too, Miles. We have to hurry and report what happened to Papa. Agreed. Well, I'm afraid we must be going, Detective. Roger, sir. And don't you worry. I'll investigate the next case we're on real well. I'll, be counting on you. The sense of trouble is definitely in the air. Thus, like a bad dream, my first outing at court came to a disturbing end. A few months later, I was finally able to properly stand in court as a prosecutor. That didn't go so great either, but I don't think we have to get into that. But the detective in charge of the investigation was, as I dreaded, Detective Gumshoe. After that, he became my direct subordinate. I have tried, but words fail to describe the immeasurable suffering he has caused me. He's your friend. But I suppose that's just how things are. As for the little girl who suddenly disappeared, she's now a teenage ninja girl! Oh, hey, we're back here now. So, do you remember now? Yes. I remember everything, including that time you kicked me in the junk. Kay, it's been a while. Kay! You sure grew up a lot. Of course. But thank goodness, I thought you two had totally forgotten about me. I'd honestly have questioned both of your mental acuity if you had. You know, I was really worried about you after all that. Where have you been all this time? Gummy, I didn't know you cared. After my father died, I went to go live with my mother's relatives. They lived really far away, so I wasn't really able to come back here all that much. Oh, is that what happened? Well, I'm just glad you're all right. Yeah. So, does it all make sense now? You betcha it does. Oh, you know what? I was going through my father's bookshelves recently and... Okay. Actually, there are still a number of things that don't make sense, Kay. Eh? First of all, why did you come all this way to see me? And second, why are you calling yourself the Yatagatasu? We seem to all be under the belief that it was you, Callisto, that done did that. The Yatagatasu is Callisto you, the woman who killed your father. No, you're wrong. The real Yatagatasu was my father. I mean, that's what I was thinking until the game started trying to tell me it wasn't. Mr. Faraday was a Yatagatasu? Like I said, I was going through my father's bookshelves recently, and I found a secret diary hidden among his books. I have no regrets in choosing to walk the path of the Yatagatasu. That was written in his diary, and that's how I know for sure. But that's impossible! What's with that look? You don't believe me? It wasn't just the expression on my face. I clearly said it was impossible just now. All right then, how do you explain this? It's a way of disarming any security system of the user's choosing. Yep, that's Little Thief. Truth be told, this is the Yatagatasu's greatest secret. And this little gizmo was used by my father. Wow, Mr. Faraday wasn't just a great prosecutor, he was really a great thief, huh? Yeah, my father worked really hard to steal the truth, and then use it as a lawyer, apparently. But he was killed, and the Yatagatasu was no more. But despite that, the Yatagatasu has been spotted again recently. Someone other than you? Here, Mr. Edgeworth. Take a look at this article. Yatagatasu sends card to embassy. Yatagatasu sent the embassy a calling card? Yeah, meaning this person's a fake. I'm almost certain that Callisto Yu lady is behind this. Because the real Yatagatasu would never send something like a gaudy card out. But your dad did do that, though. But the Yatagatasu did send a white card along with anything that to be publicized. That's what Detective Bad told me 7 years ago, if memory serves, now that I actually remember. Well, as soon as I heard the news, I got all wound up, and I knew I couldn't just let it go. So I searched you out, so that I could obtain the truth behind the Yatagarasu. Because if anyone can help me figure it, I figured it was you, Mr. Edgeworth. So you're saying that I have your father and Miss Yu's identities backwards? Yes, because the real Yatagarasu is noble to the end, and I want to revive the real noble Yatagarasu. If I don't, my father will never be able to rest in peace. Okay. You're so honorable. I don't care what anyone thinks. I'll always be here to cheer you on, pal. Even if you are honorable, a thief is a thief. And if you're plotting to commit a crime, then I'm afraid I can't be complicit. Mr. Edgeworth. You guys are not making it easy for me. Who am I supposed to support now? Mr. Edgeworth. What I want from you is not to steal something. What I want is the arrest of that evil woman. That evil woman. You mean Callisto Yu? I think it's too hard for me to catch her all by myself. But I thought that since you were able to expose her for who she is, then maybe... Please, Mr. Edgeworth, won't you help me? Come to think of it, I do believe I owe you. Huh? Owe me for what? When Miss Yu made her escape, it was you who saved my life. Furthermore, you helped me with the investigation today. I'm not so rude as to leave favors unrepaid. Then you mean... Yes. That case had been weighing down my soul ever since that fateful day. Perhaps the time has come to settle things once and for all. If you don't intend to sully your hands at a crime, then I believe I can help you. Mr. Edgeworth, thank you. Yeah, Mr. Edgeworth, sir! Isn't that great, Kay? Yeah, sure is, Gummy. Even though we had completely forgotten about her until just now. Hey, you did too, don't judge. What is with their chummy relationship? The great thief Yatagarasu. After all that time, the true identity of the thief sank back into the darkness. Brr, Faraday, Callista Yu, and Kay Faraday. The phantasmagorical changing identity of the great thief Yatagarasu. And the Yatagarasu's real goal. It would all come to light the day after I made that promise to Kay. Damn, this has been an eventful week for Edgeworth! Okay then, wow. What do we got? Turnabout ablaze. Oh, we gonna be dealing with fire. That's no good. Huh. Well, alright then, everybody. I super loved that case. I liked seeing the past. I liked seeing people meet again. It was a unique perspective. I liked it a lot. And obviously it's setting up a whole lot of stuff that's gonna be relevant soon. I believe this is the last case. Most Ace Attorney games only have 5 in total, I think, so that sounds about right. Regardless, I hope you all enjoyed this yourselves, and I'll see you all next time for what just might be the conclusion. I mean, in the long-term sense, I'm sure it's going to be more than one part. I'll see you all then.